We're at that stage where we're moving from being a pure explorer to considering moving into development and production.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Paydirt TV. Today I'm joined by Lunnon Metals Managing Director Ed AINSCOUGH. Ed, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Fraser. Good to be here.
Yeah, so you've made a lot of progress at your tenements in COBALT since you listed last year. One of the big company winners has been the Baker deposit. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, well, we announced the first resource in June, Fraser. It's just under 16,000 nickel tonnes at 2.8, and I guess since we last spoke, the headlines that have been taking people's attention is we put out some amazing numbers at Baker. I think broadly 23 at 6.8, 19 at 6%, and just the other week 6 metres at just under 11% in a diamond hole. So, you know, we've stepped into 20 by 20 spacing there to kind of really get on top of the mine design for next year, and just keep getting blown away just by the results. Just better, thicker, better grade, which means higher density, which generally means more metal. So, look, we're pretty excited, and we also announced the initial metallurgical test work, which came back with very good, very high nickel grades in concentrate, very low contaminants, great recovery, simulating the Nickel West process at the COBALT concentrator. So we're very fortunate to have a guy called Barry Clout who used to run the concentrator back in WMC days when we were all in COBALT as residents with WMC, and he's been helping us liaise with Nickel West but with our met consultants to make sure we do it exactly the same way that Nickel West will be doing it. So on the drill results front and on the metallurgical front, really exciting times for Baker.
And I understand you're trying to replicate some success at Silver Lake and Fisher. Can you tell me a bit about that?
So we announced that deal closed. It was a long time. We announced the deal originally in April, but we needed to get further approval because Goldfields is our major shareholder. We needed to get an independent experts report, so that took time. So literally just the other week that deal completed, we issued the shares to Goldfields. So we're now boots on ground at Silver Lake, and we've already seen an opportunity at Silver Lake called Silver Lake Hanging Wall that looks just like Baker did before we found Baker. In that respect, it's drilled very broadly, 100 metre spacing. WMC we're hitting thin to modest widths, at low to modest grades, and then they walked away from it. It was exactly what happened at Baker. And when I look back now at Baker and look at the original drilling and then what we've done since, and now I look at Silver Lake, I think, well, it's almost a direct analogue. So look, we're pretty excited about that. It stretches for about 600 metres in plunge by 200 metres across the dip. And it's directly below the old workings, and it's not that deep. It's about 150 to 200 metres down to the top of it. So not quite as shallow at Baker, but Baker was pretty special. So yeah, we're very excited about the prospects at Silver Lake for sure.
And those similarities with Baker, what does that mean for the plan of attack then at Silver Lake?
Well, the good thing is we've got lots of plans at Silver Lake and Fisher. I think in your conference the other week I mentioned the seismic surveys we're trying to do at the south end of Mincore's long operation, looking for repeats and extensions of their deposits. But at the prospect we've just discussed, specifically we want to do what we did at Baker. We want to drill inside that 100 metre spacing and see if there are high grade shoots like there were at Baker sitting in between that original WMC drilling. So we can do that. There are causeways out on the lake. It's a little bit harder than it was at Baker, but not too hard. So we'll work those targets up and we'll hopefully get drilling as soon as possible.
Yeah, great. And what other key milestones should investors look out for then?
Well, this quarter coming up is very much about the Baker update with all those new good results. We'll also update Warren, so we'll have 2 new resource updates from those 2 deposits. Next quarter, we've Baker very much moving into mine design. So trying to get to a reserve, get to a schedule, get to understand what the tonnes, what the grade are going to be, but more importantly, for when we talk to Nickel West, when are we going to potentially produce those tonnes? And that will put us in a position to start talking to potential offtake partners. So this quarter, resource update, next quarter, possible reserve, quarter after that, moving into discussions with offtake partners. So lots to do. And excited to have, we haven't mentioned previously, Hayden Bartrop joining us from Gold Road. So great to get some critical mass in to help me out. We're a small team, but we've got a lot to do, so it's great to have him on board.
Can you tell me a bit more about Hayden's appointment? Why is he a good fit for London?
Well, Hayden was General Counsel and COSEC at Gold Road. He's done a lot of deals, working from his time at Barrick, but also with Gold Road in terms of deals and financing. We're at that stage where we're moving from being a pure explorer to considering moving into development and production. So he brings both that legal, but the COSEC, that financial overview, and more importantly, he's an extra pair of hands And that's important when you're a small team. There's only so much each of us can do. So I've got Aaron Worrell as the exploration manager. Now I've got Hayden working on the financial, legal, COSEC side. It really sets us up well for next year.
Yeah, that's great. And since you listed on the ASX, how about the macro fundamentals of the nickel market? Have you seen any changes or growth in those 12 months?
Well, the biggest event's been the issues in Europe with the Ukraine-Russian crisis, which is obviously tragic. Typically, when I get asked that question, when you're in Kambalda above a 1% cut-off, the head grade's typically 3%, which is just a perfect hedge against the nickel price. So we actually don't spend too much time looking at the macro environment. For us, it's all about drilling safely, finding nickel metal as quickly as possible, and then working with our stakeholders and our partners to be able to put that into production.
That's great. Well, thanks for coming in today, Ed, and I look forward to the next update.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, Fraser.
Cheers.